Hey guys, what's going on? It's Salvage here, and today we're going to be talking about Spider-Man 2 and the DLC that I think we need to see in this game. Now, before we get into the video, I just want to say a big thank you to everybody that's new. You guys helped me hit like 48,000 subscribers, and that's a goal that I never really thought I would have or try to achieve, but that is something that you guys helped me reach, and I really do appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. So everybody that's new, thank you so much. And also go ahead and comment down below what you want to see in the Spider-Man DLC, what villains you want to see, what storylines you want them to adapt. I want to know what your guys' thoughts are, and while you're down there, go ahead and like the video as well. So let's go ahead and get into it. The first thing that I think most people are going to be saying, and even myself, I have this on my list as number one, I want to see Carnage in this DLC. I personally think that that would be an amazing choice. It's one of the best options that you can do as well. If you want to bring in a villain, that's something that you haven't done in the main game. Obviously, they're focusing mainly on Venom and Kraven, and that's something that I really think is a great idea. Focus on that. Focus on the symbiote and how that affects Peter, and obviously focus on Kraven in his hunt against everybody in New York. And that's great. Keep them as the main story. But for the DLC, I think expanding the symbiote story is a great idea, because if you go into the third game and then you have Carnage as one of the main villains, to me, that's kind of retreading ground that we've already seen from the second game. It's already doing a symbiote storyline. It's already doing Peter having a symbiote. It's already having a villain that's a symbiote-like version trying to kill Peter. So doing that in a third game might be redundant in many ways. So I think having Carnage in the DLC, having rather a really big DLC story that's like 3 hours long, or having just a 3-part story that's like an hour and a half to 2 hours long each, that would be very, very nice as well. Kind of like what they did with the first game with the city that never sleeps. I personally think that that was a really well done DLC. There's minor things that they could have changed and made it a little bit better, but if they do the similar type of setup where they give us like 4 or 5 suits per DLC, or I'm sorry, technically they'll probably give us 6. Of course, 3 for Miles and 3 for Peter, and then maybe they'll give us like a 3-hour story as well. They'll have an hour and a half for Peter, hour and a half for Miles, kind of something like that, where you get to kind of have a very balanced DLC with both characters, which is something that I have on my list as well, is keeping Miles and Peter playable and having Miles and Peter kind of do their own thing. I want Miles to get his own villains. Like, fuck, dude, I genuinely want the Spot to be in this game somewhere, and if the DLC can do that for Miles, do it. I think that that would be a great idea. If they're not going to give, of course, Miles a different villain, and they're just going to keep him with, of course, Peter's storyline and dealing with Carnage and the symbiotes, that's okay too. I think that that's a perfectly fine story reason to keep Miles going, is to support Peter, or at least Peter supporting Miles. Vice versa, either way. The Spider-Man helping each other, I love that. And I think that that's something that we really don't see in modern comics, and it's something that we're getting in these games that's just incredible. So that's something that could obviously continue going on, is Miles and Peter. But I think that having Carnage in the background, great idea. We need someone that can actually give us a really expanding storyline. Hammerhead wasn't it. Like, I'm sorry, but that DLC in the first game, the story was great, but the Hammerhead sections were just fucking goofy, bro. He can't hold his story fucking to save his life. So I think that that storyline was a little bit goofy, but Carnage can definitely hold his own storyline. Like, you could start off with Cletus Cassidy going around killing people. The second one is him actually getting the Carnage symbiote, kind of like learning different ways to use it. And then the third one is actually you having to fight the final version of Carnage that we all know and love from the comics. That could be really, really fun. And I think that there's multiple ways that they can expand upon that and keep going with that type of story. I also think that they can introduce Eddie Brock as well. Eddie Brock is something that a lot of people really fucking want, and I'm one of them. I'm not gonna lie. If they're not gonna do Eddie Brock in this main game, okay, that's fine. Do your own thing for Venom right now. But I think that they're still gonna do the Eddie Brock Venom storyline somewhere down the line. If they're not gonna do it in the main game, I think the DLC is a very, very smart way to do it, and just kind of building him up and even marketing Eddie Brock as the main Venom in this DLC. That would boost sales so fucking hard, and it would boost sales with Carnage, and it could boost sales for Miles and Peter being playable. All of those aspects for that DLC, it's just a banger waiting to fucking happen. And I think that Eddie Brock being brought in here, maybe even reporting upon what Cletus Cassidy is doing, and eventually getting the symbiote himself, that would just be incredibly smart to do. And I would love to see how Insomniac would introduce Eddie Brock into this world. Maybe he's still a reporter at the Bugle, maybe he's trying to work with MJ somehow. I feel like they're going to introduce him, because even mentioning him to begin with, they didn't even say that Eddie Brock wasn't in the game. They just said that he wasn't necessarily Venom.
Of Eddie Brock Venom, or
It is not Eddie Brock.
okay,
It is not Eddie Brock.
okay.
So I feel like somewhere in this game we're gonna see Eddie, and if he's not in the main game, or if he doesn't become Venom in the main game, then I hope that he's in the DLC. And I think that even in the post-credit scene or something like that, like after they defeat the villain that, or of course the Venom that whoever the fuck he is, Kraven, Norman, Harry, whoever he is, if they defeat him and then they like destroy Venom and they think that, oh, he's gone, but really the post-credit scene shows that it's just running around New York and it somehow attaches to Eddie Brock, fucking perfect. I love it. Thank you so much. I think that would be an incredible way to get Eddie to be the main Venom, and I think that they're going to do it somewhere in this game. I just have that weird hunch, and I think a lot of people do too. I mean, it's happened before in other video games, superhero video games, where they lie to us constantly. They did last game as well, like the fucking goddamn glider moment in the trailer for the Wrath mission. Oh yeah, it's a glider flying up. It must be Green Goblin. Guess what? Green Goblin's not in. There's no glider in that mission. It's fucking Dr. Octavius. And you think that they won't lie to us about Eddie Brock not being in a game? Come on now. All right, the last one is new villains. All right, I get that they have a bunch of villains in this game that might be coming up, but I hope they give us like different types of smaller villains, like in this next DLC. Like they can do, if they do Screwball again, bro, I'm gonna lose my shit. Just give us like Big Wheel or some shit. I don't even know. Just give us smaller villains that you can't really do in a main game that would waste the space of a side mission. You know what I mean? Something for Miles to do. Give him Peter's villains. I don't give a shit. Something for Peter to do. You know, don't just give us, you know, the main story. Give us like little smaller villains that can really flush out this world a little bit more. And I think that would be very interesting. And I would love to see something like that. Even bring in, if they wanted to, do hero cameos as well. Like bring in fucking, what's that guy's name? Stilts or whatever the fuck his name is, and he's walking around and you have to fight with Daredevil to take him down. That'd be a lot of fun. I would love to see something like that. And honestly, I think that they could really do something incredible with this DLC. I can't wait to see how they actually do this whole game and how they set up the DLC as well. And I hope that they really give us something that we could play for fucking years, because the first two games gave us that perfectly, and I hope that this game obviously copies that as well. So thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe for more videos in the future, and I will see you guys in my next video. Peace out.